Welcome to Tuesday's episode.
No, Tuesday. Yeah. Sorry. Hello, everyone. We're back with another episode of The Wandering Party. If you're listening to this is a Tuesday episode. The voice in my ear told me this was the case, so therefore I have said it aloud. If this is not the case, please consult your calendar. So, who would like to do a recap of what was for us was the last hour and a half? Silent, are you volunteering?
I mean, I'm always volunteering.
Then you're volunteering. Good on you, sir.
So,
can we take that as a volunteering to doing all the recap?
No, because I love. It's not. It's not. Do you know why? Because I love the sheer unadulterated "oh fuck" that's written across everyone's face every week.
Also, I already pre-volunteered to do the first recap of a day of a game session, so I can't volunteer for both. But anyway, not in order. Celeste became a duck. There was sassing. There's a dragonborn. There was a kobold who got a bit cuddly with a bow that was a bit too big for it. Zanzyk went to have a bit of a religious discussion with someone of respect, and we're hiring a bodyguard for Zanzyk. The DM is looking at me oddly. Then Retsam went to the orphanage to say, hey, let's start a school. By the way, I'm going to encourage you to do more stuff, like help schooling people and not force people to give up their children. Go team!
Woo!
The woos have it.
It's
Quacks
the noise
defeated.
that Celeste can make.
For now.
Now.
Longest
So it's at this point with a duck sat at a table and essentially a large collection of people around a table. Retsam, you return to the bar to a bright yellow duck.
Once I have done my like delivering a breakfast to the scribe, I will return to the bar. Yes.
If
that's successful,
that is successful.
If that's successful, then I return to the bar.
That is completely successful. You find that they are mostly still asleep. As you hand them food, they're like, "Thank you."
I wouldn't care if they were full asleep as long as I get them a decent meal.
You successfully deliver breakfast.
Excellent. That's all I wanted. That is everything I wanted to accomplish.
Point.
Pardon?
Breakfast. You gain 1 positive alignment point. Breakfast delivered.
Yeah. Then I returned to the bar and I wanted to have an in-depth conversation with Celeste. But if it doesn't happen for the next 30 seconds, I will forget everything in my head.
There is a duck on the table.
Hey, look, a duck.
It's Celeste Duck.
That's Celeste.
Westminster turned Celeste into a duck. I think that's what happened anyway.
That is exactly not what happened. I gave her a letter that had been magically sealed for security during transport and notified her that if she did not correctly unlock said letter using arcane means, that there would be repercussions. She simply found one of those repercussions.
One of them.
Point of interest.
Yes.
Westminster, were you here when I came through earlier?
Yes, I was.
I must apologize. I did not see you. I would have greeted you if I had seen you.
No, it's absolutely fine.
I was in a bit of a kerfuffle. I had things to carry.
There's a tall, shiny dragonborn right here who's a bit of an eyesore. So it's like, oi!
I mean, in fairness, he is quite shiny.
Just because I polished my armor, so you get grumbled.
I say that fully, like, accepting the fact that my armor was my dress armor is very, very shiny, and that I will be adopting something with a more wooden aesthetic suit.
So, did you want to be introduced? Looks around. This is all of you now. Yes, so that Westminster says. I forget. There was another short one, but they aren't here, are they?
No, they are up north with friends.
Right.
Safe.
So this is the 4 of you then, yes? Perfect. Do seats. He gestures and the seats float and just settle around the table. Enough for you guys to sit down.
Squint from the duck.
The duck begins levitating over the seat they were just in, and suddenly it's Celeste again. Celeste, you fall about a foot onto the chair with your butt.
I look at Celeste as if there was something very important I had to say to her, and it just eludes me.
Celeste, you cough as you go to speak for the first time, and a lot of yellow feathers just poof out of your mouth. Oops.
Oh, yes, I'm sure oops was the word you were thinking of.
She said she'd like to learn through practical application rather than book learning.
Confirmed, I have heard her say that.
Hey.
Is this true?
She'll just grumble as she goes back to trying to.
Maybe you should get better at book learning before you ask to do it.
Maybe she should stop calling you Westy.
But it's fucking hilarious.
There's a bunch of exchanges of look that goes through her face as she's focused on trying to unlock the letter again.
Roll me an Arcana check.
Oh no.
In fairness, I do believe I did hear her once drunkenly say, Westy is bestie. We were talking about
don't
learning
drink.
magic.
I don't drink.
Shh.
One of the strands you can see, Celeste, shifts and changes as you watch as part of the part of the envelope that is sealed just lifts slightly. So, until the Westminster says, looking around, do you want me to do the introductions, or did you want Thrad to do them?
Normally I'd go with the less option, but we'll get more detail out of you.
Perhaps. So you know Thrad, you know myself.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you know Dariah.
That's just nuts.
You might be familiar with Janice.
We met in passing, I think. I mean, literally passing.
Yes, during the South Sage incident, I believe. And then there's Rye. He gestures to the last one up on the row with the shock of white hair, who lifts one hand, waves, and you suddenly note that his entire hand is encased in what looks like metal. Hello.
You're familiar.
We've met very briefly.
I don't know if Sense would actually, he would recognize him. I don't think he would remember where he recognized him from, though.
That's fine. You don't recognize him then.
Yeah.
Weston just rolls his eyes. One of us at this table is an astral projection. He gestures to a female drow who sat in the middle of the other side of the booth from him. And this is Vindriel Zalvaris.
Zanzyk will not tell. I was talking of you the other day.
Oh,
With
as
your
the
sister.
figure turns to look at Zanzyk specifically, you can see a slightly bluish tinge, almost like a glowing outline to this figure. It becomes abundantly clear. This is indeed a projection.
With your sister.
Oh yes, my darling younger sister.
I am.
She always was a mummy's bitch.
I'm not going to answer that. Do tell Vox that we'll be there when we can.
How is he doing, by the way?
He's alive.
Zanzyk
That's
smirks
good.
Quietly.
She smirks. Interesting times up in the north.
Well, if there is anything we can do to help, just let us know.
Why do you think there was a bounty posted?
It's on our list. I look up at Alice.
A bounty and us helping are not mutually exclusive, but they are not the same thing.
It was posted to the south of Primor. You are currently pretty much the only adventuring party operating in that region. We might as well have just posted to you directly.
Well, I mean, in future, save time.
I mean, the amount of times that we've checked the bounty board could probably be counted on. Yeah.
That's why we said
There's a
the
shrug.
ones to do it.
One should not make assumptions, is what I'm saying. Something, something, pony.
She snorts.
Everyone knows that saying. I'm not going to repeat it.
Westminster coughs politely. The cloaked and hooded individual wishes to remain anonymous, as is their right.
Oh, I'm instantly curious.
Yeah, me too.
Anyone who has any levels in Druid or Ranger may roll me a nature check.
I mean, I will next level.
Sorry, Retsam.
That is a 14. Zanzyk.
That is unfortunately not a natural 20, but a 16.
Both of you very much get the impression that there is natural magics of rolling off this person.
Curious.
So either Druid or Ranger.
The last person on my other side, he gestures to the last individual, is also Janice.
Isn't that...
Chris is like, yep.
Wait, wasn't I supposed to meet...
Yes, as Chris says from behind the bar.
Pleasure.
The female Janice nods at you. The male Janice just sort of shrugs and goes, hi.
At least I know what she looks like.
Yeah, okay, fine. So, you have most of the people with the experience in dealing with with Underdarks. And heavy hitters, I think, is what Valdos said he needed me for. There's an eye roll. You guys know for well, Westminster does not look like he physically hits things very hard.
We also know he took down dragons, so
Yeah.
looks can be very deceiving.
Oh, very much so.
I have the loosest outline of a plan.
You see Zariah and Rye exchange a look.
Most of these involves sneaking. I look at Retsam.
There's a polite, everyone looks at Retsam for a long moment.
Not
Thrud
being
just
noticed.
goes, another one. Stealth, not my forte.
It's got to the point where even my pass without a trace does very little.
And
Thrud just nods and pats you on the shoulder, Retsam. I know how it feels, man.
and not being noticed by things. And then big distraction elsewhere.
Hey, I'm really good at causing a commotion.
We know.
Westminster sort of raises hand. I do have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have another way into the Underdark that doesn't involve having to go through the area of a red dragon?
There is speculation that the dwarves might have one, but
I'm a
the only
dwarf and I can dig straight down if you want.
You
the
don't
only
have
for sure
the
way.
lifespan. You don't have the lifespan for that to work.
The only for sure way I know is through her.
You see, there's a lot of the figures at the table just look at each other.
Yeah.
Westminster and Thrud share a long look. Thrud's head just shakes ever so imperceivably.
How do I put this? I think we would very much like to tackle the Red Dragon one day on our own. I kind of look towards Alice.
She nods,
There
but
are-
not now.
You understand you have also used your last favor from that particular individual.
Oh, I'm very sure. She
And-
really doesn't like my scry or flying through her area.
I can imagine she wouldn't. It's the problem with getting to the Underdark through there is she feeds off the stuff that comes out through that exit.
Well, we still need to close that exit.
But it means she's watching it.
And be that as it may, what is down there is akin to what we faced, or what you faced, and I looked at Mayor Janice, in South Sage.
There is
I don't think any
imperceivable
of us
twitch of both the people who are in fighting in South Sage, like arms, almost as if they're twitching towards their weapons for just a fraction of a second.
I don't think any of us are okay with that coming to the surface. The Drow Empire is lost. All we can do now is save who we can and seal it up. That is my view, at least.
Piss off a red dragon while we're doing so.
Well, it's inevitable.
I would rather not piss off a
I mean,
fire-breathing,
it's Tuesday, right?
overgrown iguana. Thank you.
Whoa.
It's Tuesday. It's what we do.
If you're going to call it an iguana, how can you tell me you don't want to piss it off?
It's not here, so...
And we thought that we were safe from Pogo, then our tavern exploded.
Did we tell you about the tavern exploding?
The tavern exploded.
Yeah.
And then
Well
Chris got
done.
shot.
That's why we have the wards on the tavern now.
Westminster just coughs very politely.
Yes.
How much did you? Who did them for you?
We're encouraging students at the local wizarding school. Yes, you could
Celeste
do
reacts.
better.
Westminster just sort of looks there for a long moment and just sort of nods very slowly. He shares that opinion quite clearly. They're good for on a budget.
So the main thing is we found that a extraordinary amount of coins were being upgraded.
You've
And though
dealt with a transmutation student fucking around, have you?
Though we don't expect many more explodey coins, we want to make sure that people are properly paying for their drinks.
Understand.
I do believe that. Weren't they on vacation from Primal? For Bicon, sorry.
Eyebrows
Just so you're
raised.
aware.
There's a few moments of pause. I will have to have some words if that is a suspicion you have.
I'm pretty sure that was the case. They were on vacation from somewhere. And they were all magicians. No offense, but I automatically
They
assumed-
did say they were from Bicon.
Did you just call wizards magicians?
I mean, they were magicians. You are not.
They were doing illusions, Michael. That's a reference you don't get.
DM just got pop
Vacation
culture
from-
shamed.
From Bacon.
Westminster just looks at you and as well. When someone can teleport, you can't really stop them.
No.
Which is why I'm still amused you still haven't learnt that spell.
Well, I had it in my book. It's just my other book got destroyed.
And whose fault is that?
Not pointing blames.
It's your book, you're responsible for it. You'll have to come all the way back to Biking if you want to learn it from me.
Oh, lovely. A nice vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not really much of a vacation.
He rolls his eyes. Thanks. Now,
Sabbatical.
You're welcome. She'll...
did you
How
like
far
being a
she-
duck?
Please don't turn it back into a duck.
I was thinking a jackalope, actually.
It
Oh,
might mess on the floor. And then Chris will be mad at me.
Right. So, do you want to discuss the tactics we how we would suggest dealing with an Underdark, or would you like to discuss a plan of getting you into the Underdark around a red dragon?
I mean, a little of both.
Okay. Ideally, so that Thrad begins taking over and Westminster is paused to. You see his brain is working and he's thinking of something, but Thrad goes, normally what we would have liked to do is sneak you in through an entrance and exit that we know of and have a single heavy hitter who can scry, keeping an eye on you guys and providing we'll call it a long-distance support when required. However, in this instance, your heavy hitters are probably going to have to slow down or stop a red dragon in their tracks, leaving you with very little support. Unless you can find another way in.
Yes, please.
You misunderstand. Unless you find another way in.
Yeah, she looks to Zanzyk. Yes, please.
I mean, as much as I would like to, I just don't know where. Do I remember where I came out?
No.
But do I... So, supplementary question then. Do I know that the way I came out is different to where the Red Dragon was?
You do not recall.
I mean, I'm not hard of remembering stuffs. I'm still a smart boy.
I know.
Roll some intelligence check nat ones. Because that would be the way that would go.
But she died.
Several times.
No.
And Claire knows exactly what I'm telling her.
Fuck.
To describe the podcast viewers, what Claire is realizing, when a character dies in this and they begin making the transition essentially from the physical plane, they travel through the essentially through a space that I'm currently calling the transition, which is essentially the Shadowfell. But in order to pay the toll, as it were, to use the Shadow Queen's highway, essentially to get to the afterlife, they have to spend essentially or give up a memory. In Zanzyk's case, he's paid the toll several times.
3, not 7. Zanzyk rubs his head for a while. I do not remember how I got here. But I remember Min found me shortly after. But I have no idea what that was. I don't know if it is different or the same or...
Ironically, there's no party members left who could tell you. There's a shake of the head from the others as they have no idea.
Only Min would know.
Min isn't here.
I know that.
So, it looks like we're going to have to go distract a red dragon for you then.
Well, unless the doors of the mountain know a way. But I have no way to ask them without going.
Well, then it sounds like you have a point of order then, doesn't it?
I don't know that we have long enough to try that.
Well, it looks like you have a choice to make then. Do you try it and risk time, or do you not and risk everyone else's lives? We'll slow a red dragon down, bring you down and hold you in one place is not the end of the world. Thrud just look. There's a moment where Westminster and Thrud look at each other. Westminster has said this, and Thrud is looking at him like. You get the impression if a Dragon Ball could put express a facial expression the way that the rest of you can, it would be a "Are you fucking kidding me?" sort of facial expression. That the frown and the "What the fuck."
Zax just looks... I don't want to say confused. Undecided is probably the best way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he knows he doesn't want to risk people's life, but...
Regardless of your choice, Westminster continues, we shall begin making preparations to head towards the Red Dragon's realm on the mountains, regardless, and you have a method of reaching out to us if you need us to change where we're going.
What do you guys think? To the others.
You know my opinion.
If Alice goes near that dragon, Alice has to stab that dragon.
There's a polite from the back of the window. Stab? How uncivilized.
Typically, she stabs with a bow at a distance.
She tilts her head at Retsam. I was like, did you hear that?
I'm just explaining. Don't judge.
Sorry, that was weird.
Hashtag only Gond can judge me.
But yeah, just generally arrows rather than stabby things. But yes, to put it shortly.
Okay, ultimately, with our mode of transportation, it won't take us a great deal longer to go to the dwarves and then back if they don't have a better route.
Sure.
But Zanzyk, my friend, my BFF, my nemesis, the Satan to
still
my
take my head.
heart. If you here and now tell me that going through the domain of the Red Dragon is the only way, I will don my armor, my old armor, once again for you, rather than try to find an alternative. And that will be our first port of call.
I don't think it is the only way. But I worry about the consequences.
My hammer is beside you, friend.
I would hug you, but there are people present.
It's okay.
And I have my back.
I can feel the awkwardness anyway.
Good.
We will make it down to save as many of your brethren and your brother, Gond willing, as much as you may not like me saying that.
I understand.
At this
Illustrious
point,
and all.
I do not believe that exploring one route over the other will cost us a dangerous amount of time. I think maybe the gears that have turned to bring us here have already ticked. And if they have ticked against us, then that is just something that we have to adjust for.
Let's avoid the Red Dragon.
It is always a route if that is the only one available to us.
I can see the relief in Alice. Like, you can almost see the weight lift off her shoulders as that says that.
I look to Westminster. We would still need to seal that at some point. I can probably bring down a good chunk of it.
For that entrance, I would advise perhaps you put the Red Dragon relatively close to the top of your priority list, and then we will have a conversation about sealing it. Though passages to the Underdark are a lot like molehills. They just keep reappearing.
That is my concern. This thing brings death and decay.
Quite.
Unlike me.
Perhaps that is a great irony.
Maybe.
Regardless, there is much still to do. We will... Well, if you're not going to go via the the dragon, and you do not require quite so much assistance, we shall perhaps allow some of our number to disappear back to whence they came. Though I would perhaps advise you heed words that Darai and Rai may be able to impart to you in regards to the actions Drow undertake in combat. Though, of course, Zanzyk is not so relevant for yourself as you know, but equally, if they are as tainted and as lost as you say, perhaps even their expertise is not useful to you now.
The seat was cool to the bone for most drow. Never turn your back on a drow. Yes, I am aware. I too am drow.
And to be well aware that you couldn't hurt us even if we turned our back on you.
I say nothing.
There's a long moment of pause. There's a lot of people at this table are now just looking at you, Zanzyk. There's a lot of high-powered people around this table.
I say nothing.
Uvindra sort of looks around. Well, if you perhaps no longer need myself, I have some business to attend to.
Do need some advice actually on rehabilitation, but perhaps that is something we can talk of after.
And perhaps in person?
We shall certainly attempt it.
Though I perhaps should send a missive to Rickland to have him come and join with me here. He would perhaps be in your best bet for what I believe you may need.
Thank you.
She nods. And then, if you'll excuse me, I think Vol is fighting some goblins again.
I'm pretty sure it's not that covered.
Probably, but it's what comes after the goblins that I'm concerned about. Until you next need my help. She inclines her head to the rest of you and just the projection just disappears.
I look over towards Drown, right? My friends are not... I believe the only drow they have ever met is me.
Then they have no idea, Daria says, exactly quite how vicious your kin can be.
No. I will also show them the pictures that I've been drawing of all the creatures.
There's a long moment of pause as they look at them, and they both look at each other. Janice looks at them as well.
Mm-hmm.
All three of them shake their head, like the male Janice. All three of them shake their heads. Never seen anything like this.
Oh, good. I can tell you now they'll probably suck.
The book slides towards Westminster and lifts so you get a better angle to look at it. He frowns for a moment, and the book floats over to Thrud, who shrugs and shakes his head. The book is returned to you, Zanzyk.
Thank you.
Interestingly, I have seen something like that before.
Oh.
You have?
Once.
Advice?
Kill it.
How?
The same way you'd kill most other mortal creatures.
A lot of stabbing.
I would advise you probably kill it at a distance. If it's that close for you to stab it, you're probably already dead.
So Alice is stabbing.
Range stabbing, yes.
Um,
Or, he says, looking at Celeste, you kill it quickly with magic, and for the love of all that is divine, don't use fire.
okay.
Okay, great.
I was hoping fire would be my best bet.
So I've seen Celeste do great things with wibbly wobblies. So there is every possibility that there was fire, but then there wasn't fire.
My advice is not to use fire, because if that comes from what I think it does, well, you might just set the whole space on fire.
I have a question. How do I put this? A lot of my natural instincts, I believe, will not be beneficial to me. Am I thinking correctly?
In what sense?
I am a druid of spores and death.
if you're dealing with a creature that it directly manipulates through fungal matter, you would be like a gnat to them. I would suggest not connecting yourself to a fungal mind if you can avoid it in that situation. That
So
would
probably
be
stay away from my form.
potentially, because that would be asking for trouble. Let me just walk up to a thing that is designed and inherently can manipulate mushrooms and just cover myself in mushrooms.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But the next thing I would say is, for the love of God, don't inhale the spores.
Okay.
He doesn't reach forward, points at where your book is. That was probably once one of the four-legged companions to Drow.
Right.
Four-legged. What?
Riders have 8 legs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Drows are spiders. It's
Sorry,
not-
what falling?
It's a
Do you think?
it would have been perhaps the most common occurrent thing I can think of up here would probably be a dog.
I believe it's pronounced Doge.
I believe it's pronounced fuck off.
Okay.
Oh no, that doesn't have any of the same letters in it.
How do you spell off?
Double F.
Podcast listeners, please have mercy on my soul.
I mean, Doge has a U in it. So fuck off contains multiple. Anyway,
So this is what Silent's like when he drinks wine.
this is what silence like.
Period.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Just full stop. So, throw out says with a clap of sense. This will be a fun outing for you.
No, it won't.
It will be educational.
I can't argue with that, but fun is definitely not a word I would use in this situation.
Probably more fun than my last major outing.
Probably more fun than our last outing as well.
So, what was your last major outing?
I travelled around this country giving speeches encouraging people not to rebel against the crown, and for the love and mercy, please understand that I'm a living being and not a god.
God King.
He looks at you, would you fuck off with that shit?
Important distinction. Because one indicates that you are chosen by the gods to be king. And also part god.
I mean, my understanding was you declared yourself king.
I was divinely appointed.
By yourself?
No. By 3 different deities.
I'm going to hazard a guess it's those 3, she says,
He-
pointing to the
Big Dame
trifecta
Elizabeth?
symbol on her
On his chest piece.
on his
yeah.
chest piece.
Yeah, he nods. Yes, by these 3.
Some of us are divinely appointed. Some of us are divinely annoyed.
So
Sometimes
if you
that
were chosen
overlaps.
to be a king by 3 gods, that does make you divinely appointed and therefore kind of like a god king, because that's how that works.
You're one of those people that
Look at
argues.
history.
Alice, you're one of those people that argues that drakes are dragons, aren't you?
Literally are.
No.
We
What's
have
the
an
type of
expert on the matter. Brewmaster. Brewmaster.
The limp lizard falls from the rafters onto the table with a wet crack.
Are Drake's dragon or is Alice wrong?
Pushes himself to his hind legs and goes, wait for it. There is a loud, deep belch emerges from the small drake. Oh, that feels better. What?
Are Drake's dragons or is Alice wrong?
Well, let me ask you real quick. Do I have front legs?
Alice, this is a question for you.
He's a fucking dragon. Drakes
I'm a
are
drake.
dragons. They're just little dragons that don't have arms.
That sounds awful
What you're
racist to me.
saying- No,
There is
no.
a book that I read once called the DMG, and they tagged drakes as dragons.
That's like saying gnomes are dwarfs just because they're short. Ain't true.
No, it's not.
What I can say is when mortals classify us, we come into the draconic category. We are, however, drakes. Otherwise, I'd be an alehouse dragon.
I mean, that's kind of cool.
Why
But
would
he
you not want to
the-
be an
the-
alehouse dragon?
The wing from the drake points at Thrud. Yeah, what's his classification then, smartass?
Dragonborn.
Yeah, what is he classified? Is he a dragon then?
I would assume humanoid. Vaguely.
Thrud just looks at you. Yep, humanoid. Though I argue, I don't know why you refer to as human. Why we refer to as humanoids, given the fact that humans are actually one of the younger races in the multiverse.
So many of them, though.
Because it's
We
the
do
humans
breed
who
like
classify,
rabbits.
and it's human-centric classification. So
Why
like,
would
oh,
you-
that looks vaguely like me. It must be humanoid.
But then why do elves refer to themselves as elfoid?
Because elves just don't. They don't
The elves
give
collectively
a.
have just gone, oh, for fuck's sake.
Elves are
mean-
like, why do we need to micromanage, man?
It'd be cool if we were called Dragonoid, you know? That'd be interesting.
You can be
The
dragonoid if you
dragonborn
want.
just shakes his head very slowly. No, you don't want that.
Oh, whatever. She goes back to fiddling with the letter.
Well, I mean, I can't check.
How many of these things I gotta unlock?
I have a number in my head.
My god. Ha!
You get the next bit. You're about a third of the way through.
Ha! See, I can do this.
Slow
Westminster.
and steady wins the race.
You hear Celeste going, ha, I can do this. Everyone else everyone else just see Westminster roll his eyes.
So let's look to male Janice, Drya, Rye.
Mhm.
How do we keep him quiet? I'm literally just straight up pointing at Retsam.
Leave him behind.
I can't believe I'm suggesting this, so that one of them says, you could just polymorph him into something quieter.
Yeah, but I'm gonna need my big spells into. bring
Then
down-
you don't let him wear heavy
caverns.
armor, and you pray that your magic can do enough to keep him quiet. No offense, right, Sam?
I mean, we could make you a mouse and put you in like a pocket or something.
What would be really convenient, says a disembodied voice, is if before the end of this this episode, or the end before you head off to the end of the Underdark, you could just pray that he gets a leveling druid in a wild shape. Is that a second level druid thing? I can never fucking remember.
I am a dwarf and I turn into a horse. Turn into a horse. Turn into
This is
a
a good one.
horse.
Is it level 2?
I think so.
Oh, that's spells. Level spells. There's no one. The DM is just checking something. Why is that? That's
Tell you,
not
spell sheets on
possibilities.
my sheet.
Yeah, wild shape is level 2. Oh dear.
I mean, I could make you a mouse.
Time to power level before we go to the Underdark.
And a character. All I'm hearing right now is
Hey.
Wakiari Picture Show. I can make you a man.
Make your mouse.
Yep.
I hear Vox's got goblins. I wonder how many there are.
Not that many.
I mean, we could pop in and see Vox for a bit.
Yeah, I don't think we have time.
So, what would you guys like to do?
I think they probably go back and forth asking questions for a while.
So you could spend the rest of the day, like, you can talk about how drow fight, so you have some semblance of, if you encounter hostile drow, how to deal with them. You can talk about some of the be things you know as Zanzyk about getting to the Underdark or getting to the cities of the Underdark from outside. Things to watch out for, like mushroom forests and other bits and pieces like spore carriers, all other kinds of monsters like Grail, Grick, Devourers, Cloakers, all that kind of fun stuff.
See, my homeland's fun.
All stuff that's going to kill you in horrible, nasty ways.
In fairness, my homeland is like lava and rock. One of those you squish against, one of those you don't want to shower in.
Mine no longer exists.
Is that?
So you lose
that,
them.
I think Rai shudders.
You'll have some pretty morbid places you'll live in.
Well, at least we can pronounce Westminster.
Westminster just slow claps patronizingly.
Like the smallest thing to be like showing off over.
He's like, he just sort of looks at you guys. You'd be surprised. I grew up in a dispassionate society that only cares about corporate fiscal growth and gains, to a series of parents who really didn't give a shit about me, a father who used me as a political tool, and a mother who wanted me to be female so I could learn the arts of a matriarchal clan.
Sounds like you had a great childhood.
It was fucking awful. Oh, I like swearing. I should do it more often.
I believe your lady wife would be upset.
Which is why I'm doing it here, where she can't hear me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh, I have some notes for her. I hand him some notes from my bag. They're just general, like, herb notes.
He looks at you for a moment as you go to hand him things. Like, I'm done like being handed things.
I put it on the table in front of him.
He waits until your hands are completely left them, and he just like puts a hand on them, and they just shrink and disappear.
Hopefully these will be useful.
I'm sure she'll enjoy spending time reading them.
I got as far as I could with them.
Understandable. Now, if you're done with this long-winded discussion, I need to go and get some lunch.
I have a question.
Mm.
What is everybody doing for Yule? I don't want to be presumptuous, but there will be a breakfast buffet here.
Westman just looks at you for a long moment and just says, I have a wife and children to spend Yule with.
And you can bring them here for breakfast buffet. Classy, hey?
We did just have a conversation about our tavern being blown up and our manager getting shot at,
That
right?
was for Celeste's benefit, not for everybody else's. Okay, all I'm saying is
We do the best bacon and sausages in the world.
we will quite happily provide a Yule breakfast for those who wish it. And I know most of you will say, oh, but we will teleport home to be with our loved ones. But for those who can't, and those who do not wish to say at this point that they can't, for fear of being shamed by their friends, there will be breakfast provided here.
She just looks at you guys and goes, if I'm here, actually, that sounds quite nice. I might be on a boat, though. How long is it to Yule now? A week?
Not even that.
Oh. I could be persuaded to stick around for a week. I mean, I've got to go to Northdale, then back around to Westbridge, and then I'm sailing home, so shrugs.
So are we doing the Underdark thing before or after Yule?
We have commitments for Yule, for the...
All
all
right,
the
so I'm
local
just making-
business. All the local businesses, for the orphanage. As much as I want to fulfill that, I'm not sure I want to wait. How long to the dwarves? If we pushed off?
Like 2.5, 3 days, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
If we take our method of transportation.
I mean, we did just get paid a shit ton of money. We could teleport.
This is the point. They were called hidden enclaves for a reason.
Yeah, I've got some expenses coming up. I indicate to Zanzyk about the possibility of using like the coded blinking language that no doubt best friends have developed over time. I indicate like investing in education locally.
Can I be very polite really quickly, son? The amount of money you got fucking paid, or way more than you need for that.
Zanzyk just smiles, nods.
Retsam does not have a estimate yet from Artemis, so how does he know that? Player knowledge, character knowledge, never the tween shall meet.
Okay, fair. I mean, how much does it cost to live like a king for a year? About 10 gold.
How much does it cost to buy a building, turn it into a world-class school?
You didn't say world class. You didn't say world class to them.
I think
We built
Artemis
2
can infer
buildings
that.
and did all the, including magical upgrades to them for less than 100 gold. In a nicer part of the city.
Yeah, but I still have to fund the orphanage, so I can't go too extravagant.
So, the collection, the small collection of elves that aren't Westminster, sort of just look at each other for a long moment. If you aren't going to do this till after, you'll figure us if we make ourselves scarce.
I think Sass wants to go now. I mean, could we be there and back before?
Well, we have one, like, what, call it 5 days to Yule itself? 3 days to the dwarves.
Mm-hmm.
Depends how far you have to travel in the Underdark, how far away the dwarves, if they have a passage to the Underdark, how far away it is from the city you're looking for. We could be hiking down in the Underdark for days.
True. I tell you what. Why don't I travel to the dwarves? I will go no further. Fuck, I can't get you there either. Damn it.
If you're going to travel to the dwarves, so that Weston says you should probably take the one that's interested them. He nods his head to Retsam.
Well, I was going to suggest everyone stayed here and sorted Yule, and I would see whether it was viable.
Celeste and I can hold the fort here with Chris and the twins if you and Retsam need to go.
But then we have no way of getting you and Celeste to us.
Apparently, we have enough to afford magic.
I mean, we do. We were paid very well. I kind of nod to Drya for the helping with the gnolls.
Dry looks you entirely blank with a complete straight face and goes, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I have no idea either.
There's a cough from the elf with the metal arm. Not a clue.
Mm-mm.
If we want to go as a group, we wait until the day after Yule. If we don't mind splitting up, then we can send a party in advance.
It's not necessarily that I mind splitting up. It's just how do we get them there once whether we determine.
Well, the question is, can we get a summoning circle to focus on our wagon as opposed to on a physical location?
Westminster shakes his head almost immediately, but I could tell you what you could do. Well, if you could, for example, use a sending stone to let, say, a particularly skilled and benevolent wizard know when you're stood next to, say, a teleportation circle inside of a hidden enclave. I would just have to see the runes on the teleportation circle and bam, I can teleport there.
It's all about that 9th chevron.
Yes.
I hear there's an instance where there were 10.
We don't talk about that.
Whoa, that would be madness. No one can count up to 10.
Dwarves don't have that many fingers and toes.
I heart you nerds.
What do you think, Retsam? I mean, we would miss out on Yule, but we could have like a double Yule when we come back.
You could just take the presents for each other with you.
Presume I bought him one.
You
I was
guys
going to say, that
fuck-
assumes we've actually done our shopping yet.
You fuckers are going to an auction literally at the end of this game day. Don't fucking tell me you've not done your shopping. You have an auction to go to where you can buy expensive shit.
I want to buy expensive shit.
You've got an
Okay.
auction at the end of the day.
Okay, I want to spend some of my money at that auction.
Then next week when we get to the auction, and we'll do that.
What do you think, Retsam? We could go ahead, scout.
I will tell you this. And Retsam will kind of move closer to Zanzyk and kind of say in slightly hushed tones so nobody else hears it.
Sorry, I'm just well aware of who is the thing you think hush tones are going to help any.
I'm mainly aiming that that Alice and Celeste don't specifically overhear this.
On Alice is passive. She's going to overhear this.
Celeste is too busy trying to break the last bit of the arcane lock.
You've still
Retsam is
got a
going
few
to
more checks.
tap in Morse code on Zanzyk's leg a message.
Okay.
And that
There's-
message will read gibberish because he doesn't know Morse code, but he will say in a communicable tongue that as fun as Yule is, being there for a friend is more important.
And a disembodied a voice that comes from nowhere you guys can discern just goes, and now we watch the friendship between a drow and a dwarf evolve to the next level.
Never thought I'd die side by side with the drow.
How about side by side with a friend?
I could do that.
Oh.
Wait, who's dying?
Probably Zanzyk again.
There, don't.
Everyone in the party looks at Zanzyk. So, party members, what would you like to achieve? Oh, Celeste, if you are attempting to pick the arcane lock, you have 4 more checks to make. If you want to make them in quick succession, any failure, if you roll them all at once, will be more significant because you're essentially rushing through.
I want to try just one more time.
Okay.
Just once. 8.
Half of this lock has been picked.
There's like a you'll see her get a little excited.
Westminster's like, it's like keeping a child entertained. So the Westminster says, like, almost pained.
Oh shush.
The figure who remained entirely cloaked and essentially disguised for the entire of this discussion, who said absolutely nothing, just seems to vanish on the spot.
Did they have any visible weapons or anything on them, or was it just
You
a
saw
cloaked figure?
nothing, just a cloaked figure. And they're just gone.
Alice blinks at where the cloaked figure was sat.
Your friend is interesting.
They are indeed. That's all you're given by Westminster, and Thrard just shrugs. The table is awkwardly quiet for a second.
I wonder if it's like there or maybe there.
It's painful to watch, but I have to stay until she succeeds. Otherwise, well, I'm pretty sure the next if she's over halfway through, the next failure would be most interesting to watch.
Oh, you're just staying to watch for amusement, aren't you?
Clearly, I'm your
Probably.
teacher.
Mm. Yeah, just
By
'cause-
watching you attempt this, I can see where the flaws in your learning are, which I can then correct.
She'll try to pick another lock then.
Okay.
Oh. When he
As-
says that.
As you see, as she goes to act, Westminster just looks at you all, and he just raises a
We
hand
all just step back.
and snaps his fingers. All you guys are shifted like a good foot closer towards him, and Celeste is shoved a good 3 feet into the center of the room before she's suddenly surrounded by a glitter tornado.
Oh God, no!
It's everywhere.
Chris is gonna go mental.
She is covered in glitter. There's none on the floor. There is none around the bar. It is all on Celeste.
When she takes a step, does the glitter remain?
She takes a step. You watch like glitter flakes fall off of her, and then as they're about to hit the floor, they just sort of magnetize back towards her.
I approve.
Oh, please tell me this lasts for hours.
He leans forward. He leans forward towards Zanzyk and goes, several hours.
It's okay, we have
Yes,
invites to a prestigious auction later.
It's fine,
No!
she'll just-
No, no,
she'll-
no, 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 no.
It's
no,
fine.
no.
She'll just look fabulous.
No, I am not going looking like this.
Did you need to get a living disco ball off your hands?
Oh my gosh.
He
This is,
smiles.
this is worse than a glitter bomb. Glitter tornado. Lovely.
Yes. I told you I wouldn't use glitter bombs again.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
kept my word.
Mm-hmm. Noted.
I'm sorry, I got my prank. I learnt prank from somebody who really didn't like learning from books, and insisted on venturing into practical magics for her own amusement.
Okay.
I think he might be referring to you, Celeste.
No, not really. I thought he
No,
was referring to one of the other studious students in Viking sitting on their butts for hours on end.
I mean, probably, but also you.
Such an
Yeah,
attitude on you, goodness me.
But that's why we like her.
I learned from the best.
My attitude is at least carried off from dignity and grace, something you failed to learn.
So I've got a heck of a lot of experience doing so.
Hmm. Maybe at some point you'll actually learn to use both those features and perhaps some of the talent you possess.
Well,
There's a slight eye roll. And I'm gonna go deal with this upstairs.
Don't try and dispel magic on it, it'll only make it worse. Or actually, do please try.
Oh. Just squints at West.
He simply offers a slight quirk in his lips that's akin to a smirk.
She goes to open her mouth as if she's gonna try to say something, but then she just like closes it and just
And she realizes she's not getting the last word in this argument.
huffs and takes her letter and goes upstairs.
interesting.
Sorry, it's the little victories over the children that amuse me so.
Wait, is that a child?
Yes. To be blunt and not at all patronizing, you're all children.
I mean, we're all children to something.
Yes, me.
Because you're old.
Literally how age works.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the thing. Age is a continual progression.
Only if you're smart enough to use it as such.
But ultimately, you know, when you reach a certain age, you are no longer considered a child in your race.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard the expression child at heart?
Yeah, but that doesn't actually entail you still being a child. It just means that you still are carefree and can take joy in the small things in life.
Then you're looking at the metaphor for a child. He gestures to Celeste, who's just gone and raises an eyebrow.
So that's a metaphorical child. Okay.
I don't know. How old is she?
Metaphorically.
He
We don't
blinks.
speak about age.
He blinks. He considers this for a moment.
Well, she's older than she was when we met her. By a few years.
She was originally in her 20s, mid-20s. Now she looks like she's in her mid-30s.
Oh shit, we aged, didn't we?
And Retsam is younger than ever.
Yeah.
Okay, younger than he's been in like 7 years.
Yep.
She aged
Younger
10
as well.
years.
No, you didn't age Zanzyk, you look younger.
Yep.
No, I did. I'm 69 now.
Ay.
Zanzyk has to find a way to keep reducing his age every time he gets a year older.
Right.
Alright, so I need to things.
Clearly. If you'll excuse me, Westminster still thinking his head, I'm being summoned.
By all
Say hello
means.
to
Be
Miss
summoned.
Storm for me.
I'll pass those notes on. I'm being summoned. Something about dirty nappies. I best be off.
It's been a pleasure as always.
He nods. Clearly, you were greeted with my presence. He then he goes to stand up and turn on the spot. You see Alice as he turns to teleport. There is a genuine smirk on his face, and with a sort of slight flash of arcane energy, he's gone. The elves sort of look between each other and they sort of push themselves to their feet. Then, if you'll excuse me, I have a guild to run, Zilladariah says. Janice doesn't say very much. You get the impression he's just like, I'm going with her. He points at Dariah. The last of the wood elf sort of looks at you guys and goes, I'm not telling you guys where I'm going. Bye.
Oh, that was friendly.
Strong but silent type, huh?
There's no response as he walks out.
Oh,
Don't be
he
impressed,
waits for him
Ask.
to walk out before he says it.
The female Janice is sort of just sat still and she's like, I'm going to go next door.
Yes.
The hospital?
Yes,
Ah.
I'm running one of the wards, as it were.
Zanzyk opens his mouth and then shuts it again.
There's a
Have you met
conversation
Brian?
I have, but Zanzyk and I will be having a conversation in the near future. I believe Chris wanted to be in attendance as well. Chris, right? Like you hear Chris from like behind the bar where he's been slowly drinking, watching this power grouping of people, like with some trepidation. And Alice,
What?
you're joining that meeting too.
Okay. She gets up and go and get herself more coffee.
The little
Because-
kobold is still sat on Thrad's lap and has eaten Thrad's breakfast. Now
She-
lunch.
She will just let him munch as long as Strad's not got any issue with it.
Thrad's just watched his two meals of the day like disappear into this little kobold. He's back to this little child on his knee and he's like, where the hell is this kobold putting all this food?
He manages to keep up with Retsam. It's really quite impressive.
He picks the kobold to look at it and says, how?
I don't know. He's a growing
he's
young lad.
older than little kobold, and the little kobold just burps straight in his face. The dragonborn like looks away, like his eye watering slightly, like, okay. He hands you the small kobold. It's like, I'm going to go upstairs now. The Dragonborn's like blinking away tears. That kobold just starts laughing. Big burp.
Yes, it was a very big burp.
Just the Dragonborn's just like, whew. Whoa. Well, we need to breath mint.
Are you gonna say thank you to King Thrad for him letting you eat his breakfast and his lunch?
The little kobold kicks and flails his arms. Thank you, Big Me.
He's called Apples.
Big Me apples.
Apples the Greater.
Nuh-uh. Can't be greater than me.
No one's greater than you.
See?
She grins at Thrad.
His full title is Apples the Greater than everyone else but you.
That's too many words.
That's why we shortened it to Apples the Greater.
The kobold just looks at Alice and goes, I think it's nap time.
Let's go get you a nap then.
The Dragonborn has escaped. Thrad has disappeared upstairs. Chris has just stood there looking at Zaz for a second. He goes, do you reckon that burp has upset the king's constitution?
I mean, I've been on the receiving end.
Really,
Prestidigitation does nothing.
I'd really hate to think that he'd done because he's a paladin. They do that fancy resistance thing with that because of their sheer charisma, don't they?
There is only so much. And
But still, if divine blessings can't stop the stench of that burp, we have some serious problems.
Mm-hmm. Zanzyk is going to wait for Alice to take the little one upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to grab something to my room and wander up.
Okay. So everyone is... Retsam, where are you?
I mean, at this point, I think Retsam has had a full day, and he's just going to drink until he passes out.
I mean, the end of this day, you have to go to an auction, so you've got a night ahead of you still.
Exactly, and he plans to get drunk at that auction.
Perfect. So, you guys, I will give it a moment as my brain catches up with my face. Hang on.
And gold.
No.
Worst auction ever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Celeste, you are sat in your room at your desk. The letter is in front of you. You are still covered in glitter. As you sigh, glitter is blown out as you exhale. You watch as the glitter sparkles in the air in front of you before it just reattaches itself to your face.
You seem so funny now, huh, buddy? Learning from me, huh? She'll mumble to herself as she will try to go through the other locks.
Mm-hmm. Okie dokie.
Just worst can happen. I grow a tail or something?
Why would you
Never
give
say
my
that
days?
in front of a magical enchantment.
What's the worst going to happen?
On a 13, the bit that you're working on unfortunately doesn't unlock. That you see a slight wobble of magic wash over you. As you look down at yourself, just to double check nothing's happened, you know all the glitter has now become pink. As it's now shiny pink glitter.
He knows I hate that color. Grumble again. She is focused on this locket. She is trying.
Mm-hmm. So if you want to spend the rest of the time up until you go to leave this auction, just trying to solve this, you can roll me 2 more checks.
Yes.
Okay? Or 3 more checks, I think is the one you need.
Where are my good rolls?
I stole them.
See, they're just getting worse. Okay, well, she's probably gonna give up.
The 15, and the bit you were just working on, does open, and then one more bit slides open as well with the two 14s. You, however, still have one bit left. As you get to the end of that, as you solve the second to last one, you note the glitter has fallen off you and is now on the floor and around you in your room. You can almost hear Chris's sigh of disappointment as he knows someone's going to clean that up.
She's more annoyed at the fact that it's going to be on her for years.
Yep, it's going to be in your shoes, in your hair, everywhere.
Years.
Yep.
All right, she'll can I go ahead and let's see. Oh, I could try something.
If you're going to try something,
so
do it quick because I have one more scene to cut to before we finish this evening.
Hey!
Well, you going to do the last one?
Yeah, the last one.
It pops open and you have access to the letter.
Thank God. All right, I need to write a letter to my mom to not give the letter to Westy. Jeez.
You're assuming that that's how they got the letter.
No, probably. Maybe. But she'll go ahead and read it.
It's been unlocked for you in your handouts. Enjoy.
Yay.
So we shall cut quickly to Alice. Alice, the kobold goes down pretty quickly for a nap.
Yeah.
But there is a gentle knock on your door.
She pauses, goes, "Come in."
Zanzyk walks in.
Oh, hi.
Hi. I have question/favor.
Okay. She motions you to take a seat at a convenient table and chairs in her room.
He does. What did you think of female Janice?
She was quiet. Can I roll an insight to see kind of what vibes I got off her?
Yeah.
On 12.
Quiet, reserved, very in control of herself. That's all you got.
She didn't give off a huge amount that I kind of picked up on. She's quiet. She seems well in control of herself, but other than that, she kind of shrugs.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I got. She wants to take over one of the wings of the hospital.
Yeah, Chris said he wanted me to be at the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know why?
Zanzyk is desperately trying to search for a way to word something.
Just spit it out.
I believe she is one of his less reparable contacts.
Okay.
Perhaps more. Certainly not your way inclined. He kind of tilts his head.
No, I would never get caught up in anything less than reputable.
How do I put this? Everyone has the right to do whatever they want. I don't care. I'm not entirely daft to it, though.
I am aware.
I insisted on the meeting her, not that she wanted it, because I will not be allowed in that area of the hospital once she takes it over. No male will.
Understandable.
It is... No, she's going to explain. I want your opinion of it when we go to that meeting, if you don't mind.
She nods. I will keep my eyes open and keep an eye out.
I would also will be requesting that you have access to that area of the hospital if required.
She nods.
Sorry to give you work, essentially, but she plans to put care for mistreated people, females particularly. So male presence is not allowed.
Necessarily going to be a very good thing.
No, which I can understand and support. But I don't know her.
And that rules both you and Chris out.
Yes.
She nods. I get it.
But I don't know her and I trust you. So.
I appreciate that trust.
We've been asked to keep a bit on the down low. I have not even told Retsam.
Yes, I saw the look of shock on his face.
Yes. So I'm gonna go and now convince him that it's a bowling alley. He hates bowling. Zan stands. It's the best I have.
I mean, you could just tell him that it's a female-only ward of the hospital for that exact reason and that I have it under control. He doesn't need to know who's leading it.
It's more that she doesn't want anyone to know there is a female-only ward. The idea is it would be secret from everyone. It is not on the planning permission, no guard, nothing.
I completely understand that, but at the same point, it would be good for people to be aware of it. For people don't know about it, they can't get the help we're offering.
That is why she has people in the reception area. I don't know how she plans to work it, but we'll see.
She nods. We'll
I
figure it
think
out, I'm sure.
I think she doesn't want it to become a target.
Again, that is completely understandable. Especially if she does have a less than reputable reputation.
I mean, it confuses me that she was invited to that meeting. I do not know why she was there.
There was a bunch of people gathered by Thrad.
Yes. I think there is much to learn.
It might be worth asking Chris if he invited her, or whether he knew she was going to be there.
Yes. Anyway, I am gonna go keep the drow. No, I'm the drow. The dwarf company.
I can speak to Chris if you want.
He'll be around. We can. It is not going to be for a while, so we have some time.
She nods.
And with that, that's where we're bringing this session to a close, guys, as we are running ever so slightly over time this evening. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your week.